This video will teach you everything you need to know to succeed as an elemental shaman in Season 4 of Dragonflight. Don't worry if you are a beginner, there is going to be no information overload in this video, but I can guarantee you are going to walk out of here knowing exactly what to do in both Raiding and Mythic Plus. I like to start off with the stat priority that you're going to want to follow. Now, I must say, if you are a beginner, that you should always just prioritise getting a higher and higher eye level and therefore intellect on your gear over the secondary stats. A lot of people might tell you, exact percentages, etc. you need for secondary stats, but especially when you're just starting out, these don't matter as much. Higher eye level is always going to be better. If you do want to delve a little bit deeper into the secondary stats, I recommend getting Mastery to 88% and then Haste and then Versatility and then Crit as a general priority. But it's different for every person depending on your gear anyway, and you should always simulate your character if you are delving into these. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, just stick with higher eye level and intellect. Same thing goes for the talents. This here on the left is for Raiding, and this on the right is for Mythic Plus and AoE. They're both linked down below in the description so you can import them straight into your game. I'm not going to go through individual talents, but I will show you some of the important ones, again, so that we don't get overloaded of information. Before we do that, however, let's look at some really important cooldowns and utility spells that we have at our disposal in Season 4. Again, same with the spellbook, there's loads of spells in there. You can have a look through at your own pace and see what each individual one does, but I'm going to show you the really important ones that we need to know. Any others that I don't mention may just sort of be very niche spells, etc. So, starting at the top then, we've got a defensive called Astral Shift, which is quite simply going to reduce your damage taken for a short time. We also have an Earth Elemental we can summon, which will basically tank and take all the threat off all the mobs for you, meaning the mobs will attack the Earth Elemental and not you, and it can kind of protect you and the party. We've then got Nature's Swiftness. Your next nature or healing spell is going to be instant cast. You don't have to cast it over a period of time. Heroism or Bloodlust, depending if you're Alliance or Horde, is going to increase the haste of your entire party and is a really powerful cooldown that all shamans have. And then we have the Fire Elemental, which is basically the damage version of the Earth Elemental. It summons a big Fire Elemental that does damage for you. Looking at the utilities we have Ghost Wolf, which increases your movement speed, and it can be used in combat and indoors, not just outdoors or out of combat, which is fantastic. It's really, really good for getting around quickly. We also then have Hex, which can incapacitate an enemy and turn it into a bug or whatever. There's different variants you can actually get. This is going to incapacitate the enemy for 1 minute. We've got Wind Shear. This is an interrupt or kick. If you don't know what the word kick means, well, it's an interrupt. A lot of people use the word kick and not interrupt. The reason for that is rogues, their interrupt is called kick and it kind of just stuck as the word everyone used, but this is going to interrupt the enemy's spellcasting and it's really, really important. And then we have Water Walking, which quite simply you can cast on yourself or allies so that you can walk on water. Now that we're in game, let's have a look at the rotation, starting off with Single Target, which is predominantly for raiding, and then we'll look at the changes we'll make to the build for Mythic Plus. One thing to note is my UI may look considerably different from yours. Firstly, I use an add-on called Elv UI, and I have custom made it completely myself. If you would like to get my UI, you can join my Patreon, which is down below in the description, and that also helps support the channel as well if you would like it. You also get things like behind the scenes info and a VIP channel in the Discord, which you can also join, by the way, if you would like some help from the community who are very beginner friendly. But yeah, if you would like my UI, I can help you install it, etc. Give you all the input codes. That is on my Patreon. And then you'll also see on my UI is this here, which you can't click, but it's a weak aura add-on, and that's by Luxfos. That's the specific weak aura that I've got here. And this basically puts all of your resources and cooldowns in one easy to see area, and I really like that. Again, that's linked in the description as well. So I'm going to start by talking through the spells we've got on here. We've already spoken briefly about the Fire Elemental, which you can see here summons a Fire Elemental. It's on 2.5 minute cooldown. While it is active, some of your spells are going to be improved. Your Flame Shock is going to deal damage faster, and newly applied Flame Shocks last 100% longer. That's this spell here. And if we use it on the target dummy, sears the target with fire, causing a dot or damage over time, over 36 seconds. Flame Shock can be applied up to a maximum of 6 different targets. If it's dispelled, a volcanic eruption wells up beneath the dispeller, exploding them for damage and knocking them into the air. And you'll also see here that it has actually procced something on our lava burst. So more on that in a minute, because first you've also got this one, Primordial Wave. Blast your target with a Primordial Wave, dealing damage and applying Flame Shock. That's the one here we've just spoken about. Your next lava burst, this one here, that's lit up again, will also hit all targets affected by your Flame Shock for 80% of normal damage. So if you've got Flame Shock on, say, multiple different targets, let's say both of these target dummies, then your Lava Burst will also hit all of the targets affected by that Flame Shock after your Primordial Wave. So Lava Burst then hurls molten lava at the target, dealing damage. Lava Burst will always be a critical strike if the target is affected by Flame Shock. So if they have Flame Shock on them, like it has now, then your Lava Burst is guaranteed to crit against them and do more damage. Now, when we use these spells, you can see this bar here is filling up. We've got 28 and then it's going to be 45. This is our Maelstrom, and our next spell here, Elemental Blast, is going to be how we're spending our Maelstrom. Harness the raw power of the elements, dealing damage and increasing your crit, strike or haste by 6%, or mastery by 11% for 10 seconds. So it's going to increase one of your stats. Then we've got Ice Fury, hurls frigid ice at this target, dealing damage and causing an extra 4 frost shocks to deal more damage and generate some Maelstrom as well. And that's, remember, our Maelstrom here. So that's going to do some damage and increase the damage of our next Frost Shocks, which is this one here. We can use that 4 times at increased damage. Well, Frost Shock then is going to chill the target of frost, causing damage and reducing their movement speed. And lastly, we've got Lightning Bolt, which is just going to do some lightning damage and also generate some Maelstrom here. So how are we going to put it together then into a rotation? Well, the first priority is to summon our Fire Elemental on cooldown. Next, we're going to use our Primordial Wave. And then if the target doesn't already have Flame Shock, which it may not, because remember, our Primordial Wave is on a 45-second cooldown, and of course Flame Shock doesn't last that long. So we're going to use the Primordial Wave, applying Flame Shock to them, and making our next Lava Burst hit all targets that are affected with Flame Shock. Obviously, if we've got one target, then so be it. So we're going to do Primordial Wave. The next priority is that if Flame Shock has come off, you then reapply it with Flame Shock. After that, we're going to be using our Lava Burst, especially if it is procced like this. And you can see on the weak aura that is lit up. So if you're wondering what that proc is, it's this talent here called Lava Surge. Your Flame Shock damage has a chance to reset the remaining cooldown on Lava Burst and cause your next Lava Burst to be instant. So at that point, we're going to use it. So you can see here, it's completely instant. Otherwise, we have to cast it over a few seconds. And at that point, we are going to use Lava Burst in the rotation as our next priority, only if we have that talent or that proc. We also want to use it at that point if we have a cooldown proc called Ascendance. You can see here, Deeply Rooted Elements, this talent. Casting Lava Burst has a 7% chance to activate Ascendance. Transform into a Flame Ascendant for 15 seconds, replacing Chain Lightning with Lava Beam, reducing the cooldown on Lava Burst to nothing, and increasing damage of your Lava Burst by an amount equal to your critical strike chance. When you transform into the Flame Ascendant, instantly cast a Lava Burst at all enemies affected by your Flame Shock, and refresh your Flame Shock duration to 18 seconds. So we have a chance when we're using our Lava Burst to proc that happening. So again, so far in the rotation, we're going to use our Flame Elemental or Fire Elemental on cooldown. We're going to use our Primordial Wave to proc our Lava Burst and get Flame Shock up. We're then going to only use Flame Shock if it's fallen off, which you can see on my target dummy, it hasn't yet. After that, if we have the Lava Surge, we're going to use our Lava Burst. And we're also going to use Lava Burst at that point if we have the Ascendant proc, when we've transformed into an Ascendant, so we can use it here. If it hasn't procced, we're going to actually move on to, can we use Elemental Blast? Yes, we can, so let's use it and spend that Maelstrom. And we're specifically going to use it at that point in the rotation if we have Master of the Elements active. Casting Lava Burst increases the damage or healing of your next nature, physical, or frost spell by 20%. So we've got that active. That's when we're then going to use our Elemental Blast. After that, we're just going to use Lava Burst without any procs, etc. After that, we're going to use our Ice Fury, which is going to proc our Frost Shock. That's the next priority. With that active, and then after that, we're just going to use Lightning Bolt if we've got nothing else to press. So let's go over that rotation one more time. We're going to use the Fire Elemental on cooldown. We're going to use our Primordial Wave to proc our Lava Burst and also get Flame Shock on there. If we've got a free Flame Lava Burst, we're going to use it. If we then have this one here active from our Lava Burst, Master the Elements, we're then going to use our Elemental Blast. And then if we haven't then got that active, or we can't use Maelstrom, we've run out, then we're going to go on to Ice Fury if there's no more Lava Bursts available. And then it's going to be Frost Shock. And then it's going to be Lightning Bolt if we've got nothing else to press. So again, Fire Elemental, Primordial Wave, getting up that Flame Shock and proccing Lava Burst, using the free procs on Lava Burst. Then it's going to be Elemental Blast if we have Master of the Elements active. Again, you can see we're using our free procs of Lava Burst, so we're going to use them. Then we're going to use it anyway. And then it's going to be Ice Fury. And then it's going to be Frost Shock, and then it's going to be Lightning Bolt if there's nothing else to press. So it's basically in that order based on a few different cooldowns that we have available. And that is pretty much it for the rotation. Quite literally, Fire Elemental, Primordial Wave, getting up the Flame Shock, using any free Lava Bursts that are proccing. Have we got Master of the Elements active here? Yes, we have. Well, then we can use our Elemental Blast. And we're getting loads of free Lava Bursts here. Otherwise, we're still going to use Lava Burst, and then Ice Fury, and then Frost Shock, using those. And if we can't use procced ones of those, then it's just going to be Lightning Bolt. And that's it. Obviously, don't just keep following it down like I'm doing here. Like, don't be using your Frost Shock if your Lava Burst is lit up. It's not a rotation. You shouldn't be rotating these, but just going up the priority list. So right now, I'm going to use my Primordial Wave. I can skip Flame Shock because it's already up. I'm going to use my free one. And then it's not, oh, I'll use Elemental Blast next because I've got Master of the Elements up. No, if you've still got a free Lava Burst, then use it. You just use it. That's a priority list. And now I don't. So I'm going to use Elemental Blast. And then it's going to be Lava Burst after that hasn't procced. Does that make sense? It's not a rotation, it's a priority list. So you're going down the priority list until you've got something to press at a lower and lower priority. Now we're going into the Mythic Plus build, and you can see here I'm changing a few key talents here. First and foremost, still use your Fire Elemental as the top priority. After that, we're going to use Stormkeeper, which is a cooldown we have. Charge yourself with lightning, cause your next 2 lightning bolts to deal more damage, and also cause your next 2 lightning bolts or chain lightnings to be instant cast and trigger an elemental overload on every target. After that, we're going to use our liquid magma totem. We can place that down here. And this is basically to do AoE damage on the targets where we place it. We can then use our Totemic Recall when it comes off. See that the totem's disappeared. We can use Totemic Recall to get it off cooldown and then use it again. After that, we're going to use our Primordial Wave. Again, Flame Shock if we need to. Then using our Lava Bursts. And then when we can, we're using our Earthquake. This is our Maelstrom spender. You can see it's an AoE Earthquake we're doing. Again, using any proc Lava Bursts. If you do proc into an Ascendant, which I can't seem to make happen at the moment, which is really annoying because I want to show you, what will actually happen is that your Chain Lightning will turn into a Lava Beam instead. In fact, if I just change the talent over to where we can just use it ourselves on cooldown, I can actually show you, which isn't what I'd say to do. You should be using the other passive one. But if we use it, you can see then, yeah, Chain Lightning turns into Lava Beam. See? Like this. We can use that Lava Beam. And we would move that to here in the rotation when it's on Lava Beam. Otherwise, it's the same sort of priority. Now, remember, Stormkeeper is going to activate your Chain Lightnings, so you can use those instantly after you use that. Otherwise, after you've used Earthquake, really the only thing left to use is Chain Lightning anyway. So rather than Lightning Bolt being your filler, it's now Chain Lightning. Again, there's a few talents to be aware of. One here is Windspeaker's Lava Resurgence. When you cast Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, or Earthquake, so this one it's going to be Earthquake, gain Lava Surge, which remember is the one that impacts your Lava Burst, and it's going to increase the damage of your next Lava Burst by 10%. So after you use your Earthquake, it is going to actually increase the damage of your next Lava Burst. But if you just follow this priority list down, as a beginner, you will be fine. Just don't forget about your Master of the Elements. Casting Lava Burst increases the damage of your next spell. But as a beginner, I say to just follow this. So Fire Elemental, then it's your Stormkeeper, and you can use your Instant Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightnings with that. Use your Liquid Magma Totem, and then when it comes off, you can use your Totemic Recall to get it back up and use it a second time. Using your Primordial Wave, again, that's going to get your Flame Shocks on there. Use Flame Shock on the lowest duration one remaining. So if this one's about to fall off and this one isn't, use it on this one. And then after that, use your Lava Bursts. Then use your Earthquake. You again can go back to your proc lava bursts, and again, if you've got nothing else to press, it is going to be chain lightning. And that pretty much is the rotation that we change for Mythic Plus and AoE. And that's it. You now know how to play Elemental Shaman for raiding and Mythic Plus. It can be a bit complex because you're tracking a lot of different uptimes and cooldowns on this rotation. However, it is simpler than Enhancement Shaman. If you would like to learn the other specs of Shaman, please do click here. The playlist that will pop up is actually for all Season 4 PvE specs in the game. And if you did like this video, please, of course, do consider subscribing, leaving a thumbs up, or let me know your comments down below. And again, if you would like to join my Patreon, feel free to do so, where you can get a lot of extra resources like WoW spreadsheets, etc., import my UI, and an extra VIP channel in the Discord where you can ask questions, etc., with me as well. I do only do this as a part-time thing in my evenings outside my 9 to 5, so I do really, really appreciate all the support. And if you'd like to see it in action, I do also stream it both on here and on the Purple website as well.